Hi friends, today we're going to work on our last lesson in chapter 6, lesson 8, and it's all about problem solving, right? So the strategy we're working with today is going to be guessing, checking, and revising, which means like changing, making it better. All right, so open up to page 395 in your workbook to follow along. So our first problem says, a store has 3 bins of potatoes with 183, 127, and 117 potatoes in separate bins. What 2 bins have the sum of 300 potatoes? Okay. So let's underline what we know and circle what we need to find. Okay, so for those of you who are new, this is a strategy we use a lot with problem solving, and you can use it in word problems often to underline what you know and circle what you need to know. Okay, we've talked about this several times, so it's something that we do pretty often. So we know that a store has 3 bins of potatoes with 183, 127, and 117 potatoes in separate bins. And we need to figure out which 2 are going to have a sum of 300 potatoes. And remember, sum is the answer to an addition problem. So we need to figure out which 2 add up together to get 300. Okay? So how will I solve the problem? Well, we're going to use our guess, check, and revise. So when you guess, check, and revise, you're going to just kind of, like it said, guess and figure it out. You're going to say, okay, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to try 2 numbers together, see if they work, and if they don't, I'm going to try some different numbers. Okay, so then let's actually solve it. So we're using our guess, check, and revise strategy. So our first guess is, let's say our guess is 183 and 127. So we're going to guess those first 2 numbers. So we were going to check it. We add them together. 183 plus 127 equals 310. But we need to revise it because 310 is too high. Okay, we want to equal 300 because that's what we circled, what we need to find. So 310 is too high. So we have to guess again. So let's say 183. Try it with the other number, 117. 183 plus 117 equals 300. Okay, so we found it. So the bins with 183 and 117 have 300 potatoes. So that's our answer. Now, they always have us kind of check at the end to see if our answer is reasonable and then kind of talk about why. So our answer is reasonable because we can see one that when we added 183 plus 127, it was too high. So it makes sense that a smaller number would be closer to what we need. And it kind of makes sense because if we were estimating, it's 183 is pretty close to 200 and 117 is pretty close to 100. So 200 plus 100 would be 300. So it makes sense that they're at least pretty close, and in this case, equal what we need. So let's practice the strategy. A mail carrier delivered 430 letters last month. He delivered 850 letters in last month and this month together. How many letters did he deliver this month? Okay, so we have to first underline what we know. So we know that a mail carrier delivered 430 letters last month. Okay, we know that he delivered 850 letters in last month and this month all together. And we're trying to figure out how many letters did he deliver this month. Okay? Now, let's plan how we'll solve the problem. So, using our guess, check strategy, guess, check, revise strategy, because that's our focus, we're going to try and think of some numbers that we can add to 430 to get to 850. Okay? So that's how we're going to solve it. We're going to guess, we're going to plan, excuse me, and we're going to check to figure out what we can need. So I'm going to put it here to kind of help me. So I'm going to put 430 plus what equals 850. And we're going to just kind of plug and chug is another way they kind of say, and just put it in and figure it out. So let's try. Let's say 430. I'm going to see if, so I know that a double stacked is 400 plus 4 plus 4 is 800. 4 plus 4 is 8, so 400 plus 400 will be 800. So I think I'm going to add something with 400. So I'm going to just add that same number twice. I'm going to say maybe he did the same amount of letters both months. All right, so then I'm going to add 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 3 is 6, because it doubles back, and 4 plus 4 is 8. But this is too big. We're trying to get 850. So, using this though, I can say, okay, it was 10 too many, so I just need to add 10 less. So what's 10 less than 30? Well, it's 20. So I'm going to add 420 instead of 430 and see if that works out. So we have 0 plus 0 is 0, 3 plus 2 is 5, and 4 plus 4 is 8, and that's what I needed. So 420 is our answer. That's how many letters he delivered this month. Okay, does that answer make sense? Yes, because it's about the same as the other month, and you would think he would deliver about the same. And you can see when we showed our work that 430 was too much, so it makes sense that it's slightly smaller. Okay? So now let's apply what we've kind of talked about. A store sells raisins in packages of 130, 165, and 170. Rosa wants to buy 300 raisins. Which two packages should she buy? Well, let's guess, check, and revise if we need to. I'm thinking that I know I can see a 10 pair. So I know that 3 and 7 make 10. So I think 30 and 70 would make 100. So I'm going to try those two together because I think that's going to get me pretty close to what I need. So I've set up my problem using our strategy from yesterday's lesson of rewriting. I've lined up my 1s, my 10s, 100s. So I have 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 0 is 10. I know that because that's my hundreds back to carry that group. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, and that's what I need. So I don't actually have to change anything because my first guess was right, and that might happen sometime for you. So which two packages is she going to buy? She's going to buy a package of 130 and 170 because we know that that is what's going to equal 300, right? And I should have done this before. I apologize, but we should have underlined what we knew, which we knew those packages, and we knew that she wanted to buy 300, and we should have circled that we needed to figure out which two she wanted to buy. So applying that to our brain builder, Alexa's ant farm has 120 ants. She buys another ant farm. Now she has 300 ants. How many ants are in the second ant farm? Okay, starting by underlining what we know. We know she had 120 ants. She bought some more. Now she has 300. We have to figure out how many she got. How many are in that second farm? So we're trying to figure out, 120 plus what equals that 300. Okay? So I know that 100 plus something is plus 200 probably is going to be about 300. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to say 120 plus 200. 0 plus 0 is 0, 2 plus 0 is 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3. And so it gets 320. So that's too big. So now I know, though, that I can add, if it's just 20 too many, I just have to kind of go back, skip count backwards, 2 groups of 10. So 200, 190, 180. So let's try 180. Oops, I'm on the edge of the paper here. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 8, that's one of my 10 pairs, so it's 10. And 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3, so that is my answer, which is 180 ants in that other farm. All right, Teo needs to read 3 books that total 500 pages. Which 3 books should he read? Explain to a friend how you check your answer, or just someone in your house. So we know that he needs to read 3 books that equal 500. We have to figure out which 3 books he needs to read. Okay, so this one's we're stretching our brain even a little bit more, right? So we need to add 3 numbers together this time. So let's see. I think if I need to get to 500, I feel like I definitely want to use this 200, right? Because I feel like that's a big chunk of it and makes it easy to add. So I'm going to start with that. All right, and let's see what else. I think I'm going to use this number 4, 185. See how I'm lining up my 1s, 10s, 100s. And then we need one more book Let's try this first one, 115. All right, now, nothing is different when you're adding 3 together in terms of how you line them up. You're still lining your ones, your tens, and hundreds, and then, of course, you're still adding by columns as well. So we have 0 plus 5, which is 10. 5 plus 5 is a double stack. 1 plus 0 is 1. Plus 8 is 9. Plus 1 more is also 10. Feeling pretty good about this number so far. Carrying it. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. So, all right, I did some logical thinking and I got on the first try. So we have 200. Oh, well, oops. It's asking for what books we need. Woo. So, see, we need to make sure we're paying attention to what it's asking. So it wants to know what books he needs to read. He needs to read book, the one that had 200 pages, which was 3. Books 3. We used 4 and 1. Okay? Now, if I had added them all together and they hadn't equaled 500, we would have just had to change the numbers that we put in. So, all right, so this is what you're going to review, and you're going to practice the strategies, okay? So they give you a couple different ones to choose from. The guess, check, and revise is what we focused on today. You can act it out, you can use logical reasoning, but you have to kind of show your work so I know what you're using, what you're doing. And then your homework, you don't have to do this first page because it's just your example again. Review it if you need to. And then you're just doing these 3 on the back. All right? Good luck, friends. Work hard, do your best, and have a great rest of your day.